I'm sorry I was delayed. I was talking with His Excellency Bishop Zaidan, my good friend, and we saw one another in Los Angeles a few months back, and had a delightful meeting there with the community. Thank you all so much for inviting me to participate today, but more importantly, thank you for what you're doing. You know the importance of this work. You know what's at stake. Not only are lives of innocent human beings being lost, but the prospects for stability in the Middle East and, frankly, the principles of civilization itself, I think very much depend upon your dedication and commitment to this. Many decades ago, when I was much, much younger, in fact, I was in college at the time, I went to the Middle East. And I was on a special program where I stayed with 10 families, from the highest, most elite, resourced people down to the poorest farm family. And I stayed in one particular place with a farm family, and there was no English, so their communications were difficult for us. But my host was very, very eager to take me somewhere. And so I went with him, and he took me to his neighbor's house. And when we got there, he introduced me to his neighbor, and then took his neighbor's wrist, and he put it to his forehead like this, bowed slightly, and he showed me his neighbor's wrist. And upon his wrist was tattooed the Christian cross. This Muslim family who was hosting me wanted to show me, a Christian from a Christian nation, that I was welcome there by introducing me to his Christian friend. What has happened since? The absolute depth of tragedy in the Middle East is unimaginable. Once, parts of the Middle East were rich with a tapestry of diversity, where the concept of pluralism was alive, sometimes very difficult, sometimes tense, sometimes problematic, but nonetheless alive. And so here we stand on a precipice, and those of you who are new Americans, who have come from this ancient land and these ancient traditions, or second or third generation Americans, who have benefited from the gift and resources of our liberty, our land, now are to be so commended because you're turning back and looking at the mother of your values and saying we must act in order to do something. And I tell you, your work is indispensable to empowering those of us in legislative office, in politics, to begin to press the case for the principles of civilization and pluralism itself. And the first fruit of this work, I'm happy to report, was the passage unanimously of a genocide resolution earlier this year. The House of Representatives doesn't pass a Mother's Day resolution unanimously. But the gravity of the problem, the tragedy unfolding, the sensitivity and conscience of all members of Congress not only grew, but grew to the point where we were able to make a clear statement, which was then followed by the administration's declaration of genocide. Now, when I went on television afterward, international television, I was pressed. It's a word. So what? What does it mean? You said genocide. I said, first of all, it's a gateway. The facts have been made clear. Now it is a gateway to further policy considerations that can really, truly address the tragedy of what's unfolding. But secondly, have you on your television program ever had a conversation, a discussion about the minorities in the Middle East and their rightful claim to their ancestral homes? You never have, and now you are. So the genocide resolution, I think, laid down an important marker where the entire government of the United States spoke with moral clarity, raised international consciousness, and now creates, again, the platform for consideration of further ideas that can help save people. One of those ideas that I am working on and will introduce shortly is the concept of creating a new province built upon the Iraqis' own desire to do so, a new province in the Nineveh Plain, where again, the rich tapestry of diversity between Christians and Yazidis and others once flourished. Particularly given the potential for conflict in Mosul and a new mass migration of refugees, it's all the more important to highlight the need to potentially stabilize this area of Iraq, allowing for the repatriation, rights of return, the revitalization, the resecuritization of a place of ancestral homelands that is essential to, again, reestablishing diversity and plurality in Iraq. Hopefully, this again is another step to continue to create the conditions in which Christianity, the ancient religion of the Yazidis, and others who have practiced can do so, their religion can do so in safety and inclusion. So with that, I again am so grateful for your willingness to empower us to act. This is not waiting for us, and we cannot wait for you. We move together to try to create the conditions in our country whereby this is politically viable, where again consciousness is raised, where political action is then possible. Your leaders of the internet, at the IDC, should be tremendously commended for their work in conceiving of this way in which bringing the diaspora community in America together to actually exercise your rights before the Congress is actually achieving tremendous and good outcomes. Thank you so much for coming today, and I look forward to continuing our dialogues with you. God bless you. Thank you for your good work.